So basically it's the stage when I've usually made a rough copy of one at 480 by 201 or thereabouts. I'll get the first stage done separately, and that's because I'm on low VRAM. If I wasn't on low VRAM, I'd put it all in one workflow and just batch run it overnight. And I also get 2 images, which now I perfect with clients, so that'll be the first frame and the last frame. I tend to keep my prompts fairly minimal because at this stage you've already created the structure and you've got the detail here, so you don't really need to say too much. So I used a distilled LoRa because I'm using the dev guff. And you know, this is a good setup. I've not felt the need to change it. It's as good as it can get. It's as good as I need it when it goes well. So we've got our video, rough, usually lower quality. I'll tell you why that's better quality and why it's looking so good is because I actually run it through twice. And I do that now for certain things when it's not quite worked right. Let me just actually do a real one here for you. So as you can see, it's pretty bad quality. That's usually what I'll start with. Like, I've got the structure, he's doing what I want. Okay, great. I'm happy with that. But these will be higher quality, and Klein is really nailing this for me now and getting the guy I want in there looking exactly like I want him, and the quality is good enough for me. You know, you could probably improve it more. Hands are a bit plastic, but it's good enough for me, and you're going to end up with a bit of a plastic look anyway. Size, as you can see, I mean, these, I'm using kid size nodes here, and these I've found out resize it anyway at some stage, so I'm not doing any of the sizing anymore. And also not any of that compression that was going on, whether it's going on in there, I don't know. -1, by the way, is, so the little confusing bit is now I've got 2, it's going through 2 samplers. I actually need 2 of these and they need to be set the same. So I've got 2 images, both are going into each, and it starts at 0 and ends at -1. -1 means it's the last frame in this. Strength, you could do anything 0.7 to 1, as I said already. You need to create some audio latents, even though I don't use them at the moment, and I always add audio externally after. Now here's an interesting thing. Let's just get this running. This will be about 10 minutes and I'll show you the result. But what I've done here is actually, I've installed a clown scheduler here, which is basically, and as you'll see it pop up here in a minute, is the same as the manual schedulers that are in here. You could swap them out interchangeably, but this gives you a bit more control, and using linear quadratic is what will create that arc curve that you're going to see pop up here in a minute, which is kind of what seems to be the best for these at this stage. I'm also using 9 steps, so that's there. Those are those steps being linear quadratic curve. My understanding is while it's up here, it's building structure, and once it gets down here, it starts doing the last details. What I found out was if you reduce this somewhat, and someone said reduce it by 1, but I found it made too much of a difference, so I've actually only reduced it 0.2 rather than starting at 1. But if you want it to do its own little thing, which sometimes might do a better job, start it at 1. But if you kind of want it to follow the video a bit more, then reduce that to 0.98, and you might find it does that. In the second sampler, it was always down at that anyway, like 0.9, and I've never really touched that. But the other thing that I changed, which made a big difference, was EULA Ancestral, and I was using LCM, and I went through lots and lots of these. I think I left some notes lying around here. Now, another thing I've had to add in here is memory cleanups. I got these from that one. I tested a few, and this was the best. It gave me VRAM and RAM cleanup. It was also the one being upkept to them most recently. I put that on the very end of both processes, so the very end of the first sampler stage and the very end of, what else do I need to tell you? I think that's it. You know, this is getting much closer to worthy footage, and I haven't even run all of Blackmagic Beam Down video, very little of it. I think only 2 I ran through USDU, which I could have done more. But the thing is, and this is the argument I had with one of the Reddit guys, the thing is, I'm not aiming for the highest quality right now. I'm aiming for structure to get the story, and I'm learning about narrative and putting all this together, how to tell a story visually is like that's way more important to me than getting high quality. I think that'll do for today.